If someone walked up to you on the street right now, held up their hand, and asked you to hand over $100 from your wallet, you would refuse without thinking twice. You would probably look at them like they had completely lost their mind. You lock your doors at night. You check your bank statements. You guard your physical assets with serious, deliberate caution. But every single day, ordinary, hardworking people leave the vault of their most valuable asset completely wide open. They let bosses, social media algorithms, and minor manufactured emergencies steal 3, 4, sometimes 5 hours of their day without a second thought. They hand their time over to anyone who asks for it, and they usually do not realize the devastating cost of this theft until decades have already passed. There is one unavoidable law of the universe that applies to every single person on this earth, regardless of how much money sits in their bank account. We all get exactly 24 hours today. I do not get a single minute more than you do. You cannot buy more time. You cannot borrow it from a bank, and you cannot save today's unused hours to spend them tomorrow. Time is the ultimate non-renewable capital, and yet we treat it like it is infinite.
Here is what makes this so fascinating to watch. People will negotiate fiercely over a 3% raise at their job. They will drive an hour across town to save $20 on a household purchase. But those same people will casually throw away entire evenings staring at a glowing screen, consuming noise that adds absolutely zero value to their lives. We treat paper money as if it is sacred. We treat our finite, irreplaceable time as if it is bottomless. And if you want to understand why so many people feel trapped by their financial circumstances, overwhelmed by stress, and completely disconnected from the life they wanted to build, you have to look closely at this exact paradox. People rarely ruin their lives in one giant dramatic explosion. You do not wake up on a Tuesday morning and make one colossal mistake that wipes out your future. Instead, you lose your life quietly, day by day, hour by hour, in the repeated, almost unnoticeable surrender of your daily routine. It is a slow, steady leak in the hull of your ship.
When you do not take active, deliberate ownership of your 24 hours, you naturally fall into a permanent state of reaction. I call this the trap of the drift. You wake up and immediately the outside world dictates your mood, your priorities, and your focus. You respond to urgent emails. You put out minor fires at the office. You react to breaking news alerts and navigate chaotic traffic. By the time the sun goes down, you are physically exhausted and mentally depleted. You feel incredibly busy, but when you look back at the day, you realize you did not take a single meaningful step forward. You survived the day, but you did not steer it. You drifted in the current of other people's demands. This state of permanent drift carries massive tangible consequences for your financial security and your peace of mind. Your earning power, your ability to solve complex problems, and your capacity to build wealth are all directly tied to how you allocate your daily time. If your focus is constantly fractured, you cannot compound a new skill. If your energy is fully drained by reactive tasks, you cannot plot a strategic career move. The chronic money pressure that so many working families feel is deeply connected to this loss of daily control. When you surrender your time, you surrender your autonomy. You become dependent on your next paycheck simply because you never carved out the protected hours needed to build an alternative path.
The modern internet will tell you the solution to all of this is sheer punishing effort. There is an entire industry of productivity gurus who sell a toxic brand of hustle theater. They scream at you through your screen, telling you that if you want to master your life, you need to wake up at 3 a.m., take an ice bath, skip meals, and grind until you collapse. They promote the idea that sleep is for the weak, and that any hour not spent monetizing your existence is a wasted hour. They frame time management as a brutal endurance sport, where the person who suffers the most wins. Let me be completely clear. That approach is mathematically flawed. biologically dangerous, and a guaranteed recipe for misery. The people who truly build lasting wealth and emotional stability do not operate with frantic, desperate intensity. They do not run their bodies into the ground. They understand that you cannot punish your way to a better life. Exhaustion is not a badge of honor. It is a blaring alarm that you have completely lost control of your boundaries. True high performers do not do more things faster. They do fewer things, but with absolute quiet, unshakable intention.
Mastering your 24 hours is not about becoming a hyper-efficient corporate robot. It is about reclaiming your humanity from an economy that wants to turn your attention into a commodity. It requires a fundamental shift in how you view the transitions of your day. It means understanding that the quiet moments of your morning are the psychological margin of safety for your mind. It means recognizing that deep, uninterrupted focus is the only true leverage an ordinary worker has to increase their value in the marketplace. And it requires the absolute conviction that your evening hours belong to you and to the people you love, not to the lingering anxieties of your workplace. This is not about becoming a perfectly optimized machine. It is about designing a life where your time reflects your actual values instead of everyone else's agenda.
If you want to understand why so many hardworking people never escape financial anxiety, look closely at exactly what happens during the first hour of their workday. Most people arrive at their job with good intentions. You sit down, set down your coffee, and you might even have a vague idea of a few important things you want to accomplish. Then, you make one fatal, almost automatic mistake. You open your email inbox or log into your company chat. And in that fraction of a second, you completely surrender the steering wheel of your day. You shift from offense to defense. You step directly into the trap of the reactive workday. The modern corporate environment is engineered to keep you in a permanent state of reaction. It bombards you with other people's priorities, urgent emails, frantic messages, sudden meetings. It keeps you busy, but not progressing. Exhausted, but not fulfilled. Active, but not advancing your own life. The modern workplace trains you to equate movement with progress, speed with value, and responsiveness with importance. These are carefully disguised illusions that keep you trapped in a loop of shallow productivity.
True value is created in silence, in depth, in sustained attention. When your attention is fragmented every few minutes, your brain never enters the deep state required for high-level thinking. It stays stuck in a reactive loop, constantly switching contexts, burning energy, and producing average results. This is the hidden cost of distraction. It is not just lost time, it is lost potential. Every interruption resets your cognitive momentum, forcing your brain to rebuild context again and again, draining your mental reserves long before meaningful work even begins. Over time, this pattern compounds into stagnation. You become extremely efficient at low-value tasks, but completely incapable of high-value output. Your career plateaus, your income stalls, your sense of progress fades. And the system rewards your busyness, reinforcing the illusion that you are performing even as you quietly fall behind. To break this cycle, you must create protected blocks of uninterrupted time where your attention is fully directed toward a single meaningful task. These blocks are where real growth happens, where skills compound, where insights emerge, where actual progress is made.
By the time your workday ends, your mental energy is depleted and your ability to think clearly is significantly reduced. This is where most people make another critical mistake. Instead of genuinely recovering, they numb themselves with passive consumption, endless scrolling, mindless content, allowing their minds to stay in a low-level state of stimulation. This does not restore energy. It prolongs exhaustion.
True recovery requires a deliberate shift into low-stimulation activities that allow your nervous system to reset, stepping away from screens, calm environments, giving your brain the space it needs to actually recharge. Without this, fatigue accumulates, leading to burnout, poor decisions, and steadily declining performance. Sleep is the most important factor in this equation. It is not a luxury or a sacrifice. It is a foundational requirement for cognitive function, emotional stability, and long-term health. When you compromise sleep, you compromise everything that depends on it. Your ability to focus, your ability to learn, your ability to make sound judgments. Protecting your sleep is one of the most powerful decisions you can make. Productivity without recovery is unsustainable.
The philosophy that ties all of this together is not addition, but subtraction. Most people believe success comes from doing more, adding more tasks, more commitments, more responsibilities. This quickly leads to overload. The reality is that improvement most often comes from removing what does not matter. Every unnecessary task consumes time and energy that could be directed towards something meaningful. By eliminating distractions, reducing commitments, and focusing only on what truly matters, you create space for depth and clarity. This is where real progress happens. High performers are not constantly busy. They are selectively engaged. They choose their commitments carefully and invest their energy where it yields the highest return. They align their actions with their goals, eliminate waste, and maintain deliberate control over their time. This reduces stress, increases satisfaction, and creates a sense of direction that is completely absent in reactive routines. Most people avoid this because it requires saying no. It means disappointing others occasionally. It means setting boundaries that protect your focus. It is not comfortable, especially in environments built on constant availability. But it is absolutely necessary for long-term growth. Ultimately, your life is the sum of how you spend your time. Every day presents a finite number of hours, and how you allocate them determines your trajectory. You can continue operating in a reactive state, responding to external demands and allowing your time to be dictated by others. Or you can take control, define your priorities, and act with intention. The difference between these two paths is not dramatic on a single day, but over months and years, it becomes profound. Small, consistent actions compound into significant results. Focused effort leads to skill development, which leads to increased value, which leads to greater opportunities. This is not built on intensity or extremes. It is built on consistency and clarity. By protecting your time, focusing your attention, and aligning your actions with your goals, you create a system that works in your favor. You reduce chaos. You increase efficiency. You move steadily toward outcomes you actually chose. Stop drifting. Start steering. Move from reaction to creation, from survival to growth, from stagnation to genuine progress. This is the true power of mastering your time. And it begins not next Monday, not next year, but with the very next hour you choose to own.